Hello, and welcome to another Website Depot podcast. As ever, I'm your host, Greg Benevent, and I have a very special guest with us today here, Amanda. Amanda, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do there.
Yeah, so my name is Amanda Terry. I also go by Makeup Mandy in the entertainment world. I've been in the business for almost 10 years now. I started off doing hair and makeup professionally for film and television. I then jumped into modeling. I've hosted for Dash Radio, AfterBuzz TV. I also am an actress. I'm pretty much like your Jill of all trades. And I now have my own mental health podcast, which I'm really excited and passionate about.
That's great. Okay, no, thank you for saying all that, and it's good to have you here on the podcast. No, so let's jump into that. Yeah, tell me about the mental health podcast. Like, what made you think to get started with such a thing?
We're all messed up, and that's okay. And we need to talk about it. And I feel like the pandemic really brought mental health to the forefront to make it like okay to talk about, like mental health instead of a mental illness. You know what I mean? So, I've been through a lot in my life, like anybody has, but during those obstacles, I guess subconsciously I've always retained, being like a mental health advocate. My dad ran a suicide hotline out of our house when I was 14 for veterans. He was in Vietnam and he struggled with PTSD my entire life and his entire life. So I'm very, very sensitive and have very much just compassion and respect for all of that. But that's a whole nother story. But pretty much, I majored in psychology in college, and then I dropped out and went to makeup school, and it worked out. But being a makeup artist and a hairstylist, especially on set, you're kind of like a therapist, so it all just kind of goes together. And then during the pandemic, I had lost my dad in 2018 and he was my best friend. So during the pandemic, just the realization of him not being here physically to be here with me and like feel that kind of protection, over me, it really tripped me out. And I already deal with like depression and anxiety. So it was just a full blown panic attack almost every single day. And I just couldn't handle it. So I reached out for help. I got therapy. I got on, Zoloft, and I really started to, just tap into my mental health and spirituality and meditation and all of that jazz. And I actually came up with the concept of, mental health because I was suffering and I did not want to live. Not saying that I was going to do something, but the thoughts definitely crossed my mind, especially being a creative and feeling kind of trapped, not being able to be on set and create. So it was just a whirlwind of a lot, Greg. And I just lost my shit, to be quite honest. And
I know exactly what you mean. There's a lot of folks that just doing the exact same thing, I'm sure, during that time about just, feeling having no control over anything of any level.
And almost like, being a prisoner in your own mind and battling against yourself. And I feel like that's what everybody does on a daily basis. So I was like, if I had the courage to reach out and ask for help, how many people out there do not have the courage and are not asking for help and aren't like possibly taking their lives or worse, or, you know what I mean? Or just what is everybody doing? And I was like, you know what? I need to get to as many people as possible, like right now. So I came up with this concept and I launched it January 11th. I launched it on 1/1/2/22 on purpose. Yeah. So I launched it. So I have 8 episodes out and, it's something that I'm very, very passionate about. And, I'm on my new journey to, another like job in the entertainment world, I guess you could say, another little notch under my belt.
Oh no, that's fascinating. That makes so much sense. I was struck by so many things you said, but one in particular there that I think jumped out at me is that you talked about how I guess one of the many things I was surprised about in what you said is how it wasn't until, it's at least what it sounded like in 2018 until all these things that sort of happened that you never actually, as you said, reached out for help or never reached out for therapy and that kind of thing. I mean, if you don't mind me asking, I mean, what had kept you from doing so in the past? What had kept you?
Well, actually, I reached out for help in 2020. So my dad passed in 2018, but in 2020, when the lockdown happened, is when like it was like ruminating and sitting with me. Like it was like when my dad's death was kind of just like in my face, like just so real. So I've struggled my whole life. I've had some some not so good things, happened that affected my journey
Certainly.
along the way. And nobody is perfect by any means. And I had a lot of hiccups and a lot of bumps in the road, but the main thing is that I'm still here and that I'm aware of these things. And I'm now wanting to not only help myself, but help other people along in this journey. So I think the reason why I didn't reach out for help is maybe just because I've dealt with, ADHD like my whole life. And it was something that was just, that's my cat.
I hope, yeah.
That was just normal to me. You know what I mean? It's like, I was just kind of living with it. But when the pandemic hit, it's like, why am I living with this? Like nobody should be living like this. So, I have like no fear, no limits. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a very open and honest and genuine person. And I just was like, I need help. Dude, I need help. So I got it. And I'm so happy I did, because I probably wouldn't not only be here, but just here right now speaking with you and helping people, as many people as I can. As long as I help or save or get to at least one person, I feel like I can sleep better at night.
No, that's great. That makes all the sense in the world. And what you just said, I think you used a word that I've used a lot in my own life, but I don't think it's ever been said before on this podcast, which is ruminate. And somewhat, I personally also struggle with the idea of the negative rumination, where the thoughts go around in your head over and over again, and they're not good. I mean, obviously I could ask you about different mental health tactics and techniques all day, but I'm fascinated about rumination in particular. Like, is there something that you, Amanda, do? Like, is it one of those thought stopping things, or like, how do you deal with rumination? Because that's something I'm always interested to hear more about.
You have to realize that, like, we aren't our thoughts. Like thoughts are just flowing, passing through. So there's our conscious and our subconscious, and our subconscious is the dangerous one, because it's just the voice in your head, like just all of these things that are not real, that are not true. And it's like, you just have to sit there and be like, okay, like, just say for instance, Greg, I'm like, oh my God, I'm horrible. I suck. Life sucks, blah, blah. Like, you have to sit there and be like, okay, is this true? Is this really happening right now? No, it's not the truth. And no, it's not happening. So you freaking breathe. You go outside, you let the sun hit. If the sun's not there, try to feel the wind, try to listen to a bird, try to look at the grass. Like, it's very like cliche, very tangible type, like activities or, things that you can do to get yourself back to being grounded. And it's like, and back to being, saying grounding, like, it's very important to walk barefoot on the earth and just reconnect. And, you know what I mean? Just really, really just sit with yourself and try to, you have to decipher and discern like what's real and what's not, what's true and what's false. And it's not going to happen overnight. Like it takes practice. Like I'm not a therapist. I don't have a PT, I don't have a PhD. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm none of that. I've dealt with stuff. I've survived through it. I've got the tools to utilize now. And I just think it's so important to not only go through therapy, to have somebody there to talk to, but nobody, and maybe not anybody during those times that they're feeling at their lowest, they're not gonna ask for help. Some people may not ask for help. Some people may not want to pick up the phone and talk to a therapist. So it's really important that you know how to talk to yourself and work through these things yourself so that you can get out of it.
I see. Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's just for that conversation. So it's not necessarily just the idea of like the thoughts stopping. It's to actively question it, like to question the negative thoughts and then do something physical that gets away from that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It's like,
that makes
also
a lot of
touching
sense.
Things like, one time I was like having an anxiety attack in my car. And I just remember like when I was talking to my therapist, like they said, touch things, like say, this is real, whatever. So I touched the steering wheel and I was like, the steering wheel is real. I'm here. I'm in my car. I'm okay.
Right.
Because when you have anxiety, you are living in the past. And when you're stressed, you're living in the future. So that's why it's called the present, because it's a gift. So you have to like, be like, I'm here now. Like why am I freaking out about tomorrow? And why the heck am I stressing out about something that I cannot change in the past? Like,
Oh, that makes
just
a lot of sense.
just be right now where you're at right now. And then think of things that make you happy, do things that make you happy. And it's really important the type of music you listen to as well. It's very, very important.
Oh no, okay, now that's fascinating. So what in particular about the music is I mean, just in terms of like music that makes you feel good, or is there something more to it than that? Like,
so I'm not sure if people know, but the different notes that are played hit different chakras in our body.
I had
So
never heard that. That's totally new to
yes.
me. Okay, yeah, go on.
And so
Yeah,
there's
tell us
like
about that, please.
there's
That's
like
fascinating.
megahertz that you could listen to heal yourself. And then just to be very aware and like study the chakras and then study the notes that are in music, because those things affect you psychologically. So you know how like you listen to a song and it reminds you of high school and it literally takes you back?
Yeah,
It's it's the same type of thing. They're connected to thoughts, and they're connected to thoughts which are connected to memories, which are connected to different neurons and different things that are firing in the brain. So it's very, very important to just be cognizant and very aware of what you're putting into your head on a daily basis. Not only music, but in the morning, like you should be putting good things into your head. You shouldn't, go onto social media right away and be like, oh my God, that person didn't write me, and be all pissed off the rest of the day. Like that's how you started your day.
Right.
Like,
oh yeah.
Like I go to sleep to meditation music and, healing music and different megahertz, like I was telling you, that genuinely like restore your brain and make you feel like amazing person the next morning when you wake up. And then just get up and make yourself, your coffee and make that a whole process, and be with yourself in the morning and do something that you enjoy, and try to get up a little bit earlier than just hitting that snooze and waking up right away and feeling like crap. And then you're in a rush,
And
like,
then having to rush out there. Yeah, run out to exactly where you're going.
You really got to take time to just put in the work to make yourself feel good on a daily basis, because we're all we have at the end of the day, and at the beginning and at the end of the day. And I always say everything starts in the mind and always ends in the mind. So make sure you're making up your mind. And my podcast is called Make Up Your Mind with Mandi. So there's that plug.
That's good. No. And feel free to plug that even more. This is tremendous. Okay, so I have a million questions about that. All right, so the morning process. No, the morning process to me, okay, it's because I'm sure, like so many of us, guilty of like, okay, today we're gonna have a good start, we're gonna have the good day, and then you turn on the phone and that's all gone.
Totally, I'm guilty of it. I'm totally guilty of it.
Okay, so but let's talk about what the apex better morning would be, because it sounds like you're really on to something there. Like, okay, you're up, you're
wake up before the sun. First of all, wake up before the sun, because that's already an accomplishment. You already feel like a badass because you're like, I'm up before the sun's up. So you already feel like you had an accomplishment. As soon as you get out of bed, make your bed. Then you've got your second accomplishment. So the more accomplishments that you do, the better you're going to feel about yourself. So wake up before the sun, make your bed, spend maybe 5-10 minutes at least meditating, stretching, making, spinning that on your body, drink water with lemon. Specifically maybe hot water with lemon, and get your digestive system going before you put any food in your stomach. If you have time, you want to work out.
That was I was going to get to that eventually. Okay, so that's the exercise.
You want to work out, and then you want to come back, and then you want to eat, take a shower, and then get ready for the day, and then start your day.
Okay. I mean, I've been surprised on this podcast before. I don't know if I've ever been quite so surprised as wake up before the sun. That was amazing. Well, I mean, I guess my first thing, I bumped against that a little bit. I mean, it sounds like the day actually starts is when should you go to bed to be able to get in that time before the waking up?
You should go to bed, honestly. I mean, I'm not even joking. Like if I'm home, like I'm literally in bed at like 8 o'clock sometimes, like in bed, not like asleep, but like in bed.
And like starting to prepare yourself for sleep.
Yeah. And it's also really important to not look at your phone first thing in the morning. Like first of all, set your alarm and put your phone in the other room or somewhere where you have to get up to get it. So you can't just hit the snooze and go back to sleep.
Okay, right. Okay, that makes sense. Somewhere it's not like it's not just on the bed with you. It's not on the
no. Put it somewhere else, and don't look at your phone like an hour before you go to bed. And because the lights do everything. The
yeah,
blue
yeah. I've heard the
does,
lights are bad. Yeah.
well, the
Yeah.
blue light does something psychologically as well. It stimulates your brain, and then you're just like, go, go, go. And you want to keep watching your phone. And that's how people get addicted. Like this is all science and neuroscience and all that, you know? So yeah, it's just really, really important to give yourself a nighttime routine and a morning routine and get into that schedule. And if say you're not used to getting up early, well, that morning that you get up early, you're now going to be tired by the end of the night to be able to go to bed early, to then get up early, and then you start your routine.
You'll build up that routine from
Exactly.
and I assume that's how it works with, like, because I mean, you mentioned, working on film sets and all that kind of thing, where many times when that happens, hey, you're not going to be able to be in bed by 8 or by 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
Mess me up. Yeah, those shoots mess me up. Like it's a lot. Like I mean, I think the longest that I worked on set was 19 hours. It was for a Netflix series. It was 19 hours on set.
Jeez, man. Wow. But I assume that's so from what you're saying. But when you do have one of those nights, it would be almost like, like, hey, when someone, maybe overeats when they're like dieting, it's like, okay, that happened. Now get back into your routine the next time.
I mean, I've done it, like it's hard. Consistent self-discipline is literally the key to life, like the key to success. Consistent.
I totally believe that.
Discipline.
Yes.
That's the key to life, to success, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, so I mean, it just hit me. We're talking about the sleeping well and the starting the day right and all that. I mean, it's. Are there other one thing when I have, like, business clients and all that kind of thing on this podcast, one thing I always ask them is like, hey, what's something that an entrepreneur can do right now as soon as they listen to this podcast to make their business better? With you, I would ask, like, hey, what's a tip for building that self-discipline or making yourself feel better in the day that maybe someone hasn't necessarily heard of or encountered yet, that you would tell somebody that they could do if they're listening to this at lunch or when they should be working or something like that? What's something you could tell them that could make them feel better right now? Like,
honestly, replace the music you're listening to with either classical or jazz. Okay. No words, no crap. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Like, music's cool for a place and time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Replace it with either classical or jazz. And when you're in the car, you don't always have to listen to music. I highly, highly suggest, this has changed my life immensely, listening to podcasts that are like self-help of things that you're going through or things that you're interested in. Just knowledge. Feed your brain knowledge, something that's going to help you in life, rather than like just dancing in the car, right? Whatever. Okay. And then motivational speeches, like honestly, motivational speeches, like listening to those, like on YouTube on my way. Cause I do a lot of driving to like set, like I do like long drives. And it's like, now I look forward to those. And like, I get in the car and like, if I hear any type of music, I'm like, rebuke, like, oh my God, like what? Like, I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I want to get my motivational speech on as soon as possible, because you're just feeding your brain. You're just feeding your brain good things, good, like affirmations, things that are going to make you feel good, things that are going to empower you, things that are going to make you feel like you're relating to them. Like, wow, like I'm not alone. It's like everything in life is a choice. And we're not always going to make the best ones, but certainly try your hardest to at least do it over 75%. Like, if you want better for your life, like you're going to get sick of your own crap and you're going to just be like, okay, what can I do to be better? And it's just really important to honestly just try. The best that we can do is just try.
No, that's great. I mean, I have to ask, what are some greatest hits motivational speech that someone could download and listen to on the way back from work? Maybe one they haven't heard of, or one they haven't heard in a while.
So everybody get your pens and papers out. So I'm going to give you some names. So we have Les Brown, we have Bob Proctor, we have Mel Robbins, we have Jay Shetty, we have Gary V, we have Jim Rohn, we have
the sports guy, Jordan
B. Jordan B. Peterson, Joe Rogan. These are all people that I listen to literally on a daily basis. Like, I can just hear the voice and I know who's talking at this point. I can distinctively tell between the voices, and it's just changed my life so much, because it's like, success leaves clues. Okay. So if you want to be like somebody or be like a business, whatever, but obviously still be yourself. But I'm just saying, like, there's an outline you can follow. So if you want to be like something, like go study that and do the same steps. Success
No, that makes a lot of
clues.
Sense. No, that makes a lot of sense because
clues.
Yeah, and because I'm assuming, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but I meant
Okay.
just like in terms of, if a person is looking at this outline of how something worked for someone else, then by virtue of that person committing to the outline, just by them being someone different, they'll approach it in with their own manner and their own way. So it's not like it's the exact same thing. You're just following this path that someone else charted, and you'll find your own way through that by just being a different human being.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're all individual no matter what. Just because we do the same things will never be like the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just honestly making the choice. So Bob Proctor always says the only thing that you have, and rest in peace, he just passed away a couple weeks ago. Honestly, it's like, you just have to make the choice. You make the choice. So it's like, if say you want to do something, you're like, oh my God, instead of sitting here like procrastinating, like, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? Then you just waste time and you never do it. It's like, make the choice to just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Shift your mindset. And I promise you the universe will deliver and follow. You obviously have to work. You can't just sit back and wait, no, but you just have to make that first step and that decision in your mind. Like, hey, I'm going to change. And like, what are the proper steps to do so? And just move, just move. All you got to do. Just try to do it and just make up your mind.
No, that's a good tie-in, and that wasn't all forced. That was exactly right. Okay, so from what just we're talking, and it seems like the one thing that a person can do that's maybe having a rough day, or even just beyond having a longer mental health problem, but rather just, hey, maybe having a tough day and happens to stumble across this, is to, like you said, to move, to do, to act, to not simply sit in a torpor and be sad. It's to be proactive. Would that be a good summation? Or
absolutely. And then like whatever negativity or toxicity that you have like inside of your body, with like your mind, whatever, write it down on paper, because people think, oh my God, like, is this real? Like my thought, like, okay, like my thoughts are real, or are they not real? And they like kind of fight with them. And then they're just like mad about it. It's like, write it down, and then it becomes real. And then all the negative stuff, like, then burn it or tear it up and throw it away. And the good stuff is like what you want to keep in a journal and notebooks. So all the trash that's in your brain, like, write it down, get it out, or find another outlet. Sports, working out. Like, working out is so, like, mind and body are connected. You know what I mean? And it's so important to work out because it releases the feel-good hormones, and it makes you feel better. And it's so important to just move your body, because we hold sadness, we hold emotion, we hold all of these things in our body, and that causes illness. And stress can literally kill you. Stress can literally kill you. Like, thoughts are real. They are real. But again, we have to filter them. We have to filter them. It's a constant battle between us and our minds every single day. So that's why I tell everybody it's so important to practice compassion, because you never know what somebody's going through. Like, we're already going through crap in our head with ourselves. The last thing we need is somebody else giving us more crap to make us feel less than, And it's like, just lead with compassion. Like, honestly, instead of being like, hey, that person's being what a jerk, blah, blah. It's like, wow, that person really needs me to pray for them, or like whatever you believe, or that person really needs some love. That person really needs, like, say hello, say hi, ask how they're doing. Like, just be there as a human being. Everybody's so afraid to like talk about things, or we're so programmed to be like, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm good, blah, blah. No, you're probably really not good. You just got divorced or whatever. Right. Like, and you're just saying you're good because we're programmed to do it. It's like second nature to us. It's like, how are you really doing today, Greg? Like, are you okay? Like, how are you really doing? And people get uncomfortable with that. Like, people get
They're not used to actually
like,
having to think about it. Oh yeah.
I could tell your body language. You were like, oh, okay. Like, like you can read people, and you can read a lot by people's body language, and just by observing, honestly, and listening more than you speak.
No, that last one's certainly critical. I mean, I was again struck by, it was, gratifying to hear you use the word compassion. I think that's something that kind of tends to get lost in some of these conversations.
Totally.
And I just sort of, I mean, and I think that's such an important thing to reinforce what you said about, like, okay, if to approach others in compassion and essentially any context, but also about, that things, but I also, from a lot of what you're saying, that also much of what you say can be kind of summed up in the idea of approaching yourself with some of that compassion too, it seems.
I love that you said that. Yeah. Like you need to, first of all, like we need to treat ourselves the best because we are going to exude whatever we're going on inside. So everybody's like, oh, don't be selfish. You're so selfish. Like, honestly, being selfish, we should all be selfish. The better that we treat ourselves, the better that we're going to give off that energy. And then we're going to be able to treat each other better. And it's going to make the world so much of a better place. If we all just loved ourselves so much more, it would be much more of a better world, I believe.
Okay. So that, and I think it's interesting you use the word selfish, because I think that just because I think so many of us, particularly people who maybe, do struggle with the anxiety and similar things, is that, what can feel selfish is actually not,
it's
but rather
self-love.
is, yeah, exactly. Self-love, self-care, merely taking care of yourself is, that's to do something nice for you is not a selfish act.
Exactly. And I think that's the negative connotation that's attached to the word selfish, and we need to change that stigma. We need to just focus on self-love. And it sounds so cliche and like whatever, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
Well, I think and I've been exploring this a bit in my own thoughts, and I could be way off the rails here, but I'm starting to come around the idea that, like, the reason that self-love, I think in some part, there's a lot of reasons that you say self-love and people are like, oh boy, here we go, is that it is so, I think part of our reticence to engage with it is that it is so challenging. Like, it's a lot easier to make fun of it than it is to actually engage in any act of it. Like,
you know why? Because like we've been programmed to just go and just serve. And it's like,
oh yes,
no, we need to serve ourselves too. Like, how are you gonna, like, all of these sayings are like so old and so cliche, but they're obviously around for a reason because they're true. They ring true.
Right. If they didn't work for somebody, they would have died out.
Totally.
And, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, it's like I could talk to you all night about this. This is fascinating. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about, or anything that you'd like to say that to cover or to express that I haven't asked you about so far?
I would like to share where you could find my podcast.
Oh, 100%. We were definitely going to go there. Yeah.
Yeah. So my podcast is Make Up Your Mind with Mandi, and it's with it's so make up and then you are your mind, not YOUR. So it's you are, make up your mind with Mandi, and that's with an I.
Okay, we'll put that up on the screen too, so that they see that, and that'll be in the thing.
Thank you.
So folks can find that.
Thank you. So you could find it on all platforms, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, the whole nine. My personal account is makeup_Mandi with an I. And then in my bio on my personal account, it has my podcast page, which is Make Up Your Mind _podcast. And I have a lot of things coming this year. I have a lot of plans. I have a ton of goals that we're going to accomplish, guys. And I'm going to change the world with mental health, honey.
Wow. Okay. That's definitely bolder than when the business owners come on and it's like, we're going to have a great third quarter. Like that's a lot more better quote than a lot of we get here. That's
I have my 5 years already planned out. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Excellent. Well, and I have no doubt this will be successful. I mean, this was great. This really was. This is, I know I say this a lot on here, is about like, oh, that can actually help somebody, but this actually can. I mean, this isn't, like, oh, here's a new social media strategy for your business.
Yeah,
no. This is actually a thing that can help your real life once
you want to know what my motto is, and it may be a little blunt because I'm very raw and real, and I'm out there. And this, I
think you're the first person to say pissed off on here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like raw, real. I like transparent, and it's like, I made a post the other day and it's like, everybody's out there trying to fix their bodies and their face and all this stuff. And like, that's okay. Like whatever makes you happy. But certainly. I think we need to start fixing our souls and our minds first.
Makes sense.
You know, it's like, it's so like surface level, and like we need more depth and we need more healing and, again, compassion. And the better that we treat ourselves, the better that we're going to see ourselves, and the better that we're going to see everybody else, and just be able to be like an awesome team and just help people, because we're supposed to be all together. We're not supposed to be against each other. We're not supposed to
Certainly.
be, you know, it's no, this shouldn't be a competition thing. Like, we're literally all in this together. Like, we were just put here. We didn't ask to be here. We don't have directions. Like, we're all just here trying to like survive. And I think we need to just keep that and make it very like literal. Like, we need to keep that in mind. Break it down simplicity, you know, some with simplicity. Like, it's like, we're all human, man. Like, you know, we're just trying to survive. So we need to be nice.
Oh, that's great. That is, and that's also a very true and lovely sentiment to end on. Thank you for coming out to this, Amanda.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna follow you on the thing after this as soon as you
Yay!
log out.
I got a new follower.
But yes, I think that's the first person I've said that to. I worry I'm gonna have to do that with every client now from now on. I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, on behalf of Website Depot, thank you for coming out again. My name is Greg Benevent. Take it easy. Have a good night.
Bye.